Hey everyone, in this video we are going to discuss the problem D of Codeforces round 1103. So the problem says that Dabir and Igor were not satisfied with the fame of the previous episode, so they decided to make another TV show. The guys play their favorite game on an array with their favorite integer k. Dabir moves first. On the first move, any element from the array can be chosen and removed. Let the previous chosen element be equals to x. Then on the current move, except the very first one, a player must choose an element y from the array such that y minus x belongs to 0 to k and remove it from the array. The player who cannot make a move loses. But since this was not just a game but it was a real show match, Sunny aka Makan, the main celebrity Forms was invited again. As guest celebrity, Arsani was given the opportunity to make the first move in this match, that is, to make very first move in the game instead of Dabir. However, it turns out Arsani is a fan of Igor, so he wants his first move to guarantee Igor wins a strategy against any response from Dabir. Determine whether Arsani can make his first move for Dabir so that no matter how Dabir plays, Igor wins. Okay. Great. So we are given n and k and a. We need to find if Arsani can pick an integer from the array and remove it such that Eager wins. So let's take an example of this first test case. Here are n equals to 5 and k equals to 1. So for the first case, Arsani only have the possibility to choose x equals to 3 because all the elements are 3. They will, let's say, pick any element, it doesn't matter, and remove it, right? This element is removed. On the second case, Eager picks again 3 because 3 is the only possibility. Let's they pick this one and remove it. Also notice that here y minus x is less than or equals to y minus x is less than or equals to k, that is 1. Y minus x is 0. So it satisfies our criteria, this criteria. Okay. On the third case, Eager now this was Arseny, this was Ig Igor's, this is Dabir's move. So Dabir also picks y equals to 3 and removes it. Again, Igor, fourth move. They will also pick y equals to 3, remove it. Then it's Dabir move. They will also pick y equals to 3 and remove it. Now here comes Igor's move, sixth case. For the sixth move is Igor's move, and they see that our array is empty. All the elements are removed. So Igor loses. So there is no strategy for Arsani to pick an integer such that Igor wins. So in this case, Igor loses. So we say no, right? Let's take an example of any other case. Let's take this one. Okay. So first of all, let's sort these elements of the array. After sorting, our n equals to k, n equals to 5, k equals to 1, and our array becomes 1, 1, triple 5. This is our array after sorting. So notice that for the optimal move on the first case, what Eager can do is Eager can pick 5. So our array will be 1, 1, 5, 5 because Eager picked 5 and he removed it. The second case, no, this was Arseni's move. Arseni picks 5. This is Igor's move, second move. So let's here x equals to 5. Igor, let's say he pick 5, right? Let's say he picks 5. Can he pick 5? Yes, he can pick because 5 minus 5 equals to 0 and 0 is within the range 0 to 1, right? So let's say he pick 5. So the array becomes 1, 1, 5. Now let's say Dabir, Dabir's move, third move. He also picks 5, 1, 1, and why he picks 5. Now again, this is Igor's move. Now can Igor pick 1? No, because if he picks 1, then y goes to 1, and you see that 1 y minus x is your previous move 5. This equals to minus 4, and minus 4 is not greater than 1, right? Minus 1 is no minus 4 is not greater than 0. So this does not satisfy this condition. So Igor cannot pick 1 here. So if Arsani picks 5, then Igor loses. Igor loses. Is there any other strategy? Right? So let's say if Arsani picks 1, if Arsani picks 1 for the first case, then A becomes 1 comma triple 5. Then Igor picks, let's say 5. Can he pick 5? Uh, he cannot, because 5 minus 1 equals to 4 and 4 is not less than 1. So he will pick 1, right? So if he picks 1, then the array becomes 5 comma 5. Then the next chance is Dabir's. Now Dabir, can he pick 5? Here is triple 5. So can he pick 5? No, because our last move was 1, and in this case if we pick 5, then y minus x is 4, and 4 is not less than k, because our k is equals to 1 here. So here Dabir loses. So you see that there is a possibility where there is a strategy where r sunny picks x equals to 1, and this guarantees that Igor has a strategy to win. Okay, so in this case our answer must be yes. Which was this case, this one. So this is yes. Okay, so for the general case, if you observe this pattern, what you see that if there, so let's take the maximum value of an integer in this array after sorting. If the count of the maximum value is even, then there is always a strategy for Arseny such that they picks the maximum value, and it will guarantee that Igor will win. Why? Because let's say of in the above case the array would have been, let's say 1 1 3 4 5 comma 5 comma 5 comma 5. Then let's say Arseny picks the maximum value 5. Arseny removes it. Then Igor, they will remove it. Then Dabir only has this option because they cannot pick smaller one, right? So Dabir removes it. Then Igor removes it. Now Dabir does not have any possibility to pick an element because they cannot pick the smaller element from the previous value, right? So here Dabir loses. So you see that if you have the maximum value count equals to even, then there is always a possibility for Arsenic to pick that maximum value, and Igor will definitely win. Now let's say if the maximum value is count of the maximum value is odd, right? So let's say the count of maximum value is odd, then you will, so let's say the count of maximum value is odd, that is only 5 is there, and let's say 4, 4 and 4 are there. Any other integer is there. So let's say if this is the maximum value and this is 4, 4, and let's assume k equals to 1. Now if the maximum value count is odd, then Arseny still has the strategy such that Igor wins. What he will do is he will pick the next smaller value than the maximum value, that is 4. And first time Arseny picks this, then Igor will pick the next greater value, that is 5, and he can pick it because 5 minus 4 is less than equals to 1. Igor picks this value, and then this Dabir cannot make any move. So this also gives an opportunity for Arseny to pick a value that is next smaller than the maximum value, and it will guarantee that Igor will win. So, but this is only true if the maximum value minus the next smaller value is less than or equals to k, right? Then Igor can win. Otherwise, Igor, uh, there is no guarantee for Igor to win. So let's say this maximum value is 5, that is odd. Now this is 3, right? The next smaller value is 3, 3 and 3, right? Our a is like this, and k equals to 1. So you see that in this case there is no guarantee that Igor win, because let's say Arseny picks 3, then Igor cannot pick 5 because 5 minus 3 is 2, and 2 is not less than equals to 1. Then Arseny will have to look for another strategy. The another strategy is, let's say in this case also the number of these threes, 3 are the next smaller value than the maximum value. If the value of this count of these 3 is even, right? If the count is even, then it creates the similar problem as the above, this one. And here it guarantees that if Arseny picks any 3, then Igor will win. How? Because let's say Arseny picks this, okay? Then Igor will pick 3. Then Dabir only has the chance to pick 3 because he cannot pick 5, because otherwise 5 minus 3 is greater than k. So Dabir will have to definitely pick 3. Then Igor picks 3, right? And now Dabir does not have any possible chance, so Dabir loses. So we see that in this case also Arseny has a strategy to make Igor win this game. Now we will keep on tracing the next smaller value. Let's say in this case, if the count of 3 is odd, then Arseny doesn't have any strategy so that Igor wins. So he will look for next smaller value. Let's say this is 2, right? Our array is this. So if this is 2, then still Arseny has a valid strategy, because Arseny can pick this, Igor can pick this, then Dabir will have to pick this, then Igor picks this, then Dabir does not have any strategy, right? So you see that this problem is again repeating similar to this. So how to implement this strategy? How to implement this idea to find a valid strategy? Let's see the code. Okay, so similar thing we have done. We have just calculated the count of each integer, right? As the value of a can be between 1 to n. So we have calculated the count of each integer that exists in the array a. Okay. After calculating the count, we will iterate from the end, right? And we will try to find if there exist. So let's say initially, let's say the last picked value is infinity. Okay. We have taken this variable infinity because we want that this will make sure that we will pick any new value, because infinity minus some value will definitely will greater than k, right? So assign the last value as infinity. We will iterate from end to 0, end to 1, and let's say last minus I is less than or equals to k. It means that we can pick the current value, right? If we can pick the current value, then this is this case, this case, right? If we can pick this current value, this means that we our last value is last minus current value is less than or equals to k, and our last count of the last value is odd. So if we pick this, Arseny picks this value and Igor picks this, it makes the strategy for Igor to win. So in this case we will return yes, we'll output yes and return. Otherwise, if count of I is 0, then this is this particular case, this case. In this case also, Igor has a Arseny has a strategy so that Igor wins. So in this case also we will output yes. Otherwise we will assign last equals to I. Last is actually the next greater value which exists in this array, right? So we will assign last equals to I and again check for the next smaller value. We'll continue this loop. So if Arseny at the end, if Arseny doesn't find any value such that they can pick and it makes the strategy for Igor to win, then if there does not exist any value, then simply we will output no. So this was our simple code for this solution. Hope you got the solution. Thanks.